Hey, Lashpreneurs, happy Monday. How do we not fail at running a business? Oh, that was the question. That was the question we were asked. How do I not fail at this was essentially word for word the conversation. And we're going to talk about what even is failure and how do you avoid it at all costs. So I don't have notes for this. Usually I kind of take some notes, get some thoughts, but I've spoken to failure and I have a lot of my own mindset stuff around failure that helps me navigate. I don't know, failure doesn't even come up for me anymore because of the mindset work I've done around it. So failure really, the old cliche, failure is not an option. That's exactly it. You don't even give yourself failure as an option. Failure is a cop-out. Failure is a self-sabotage. Failure is a meaning that you give to an unknown set of circumstances where you would walk away from your business. I believe most people equate failure to a negative thing, right? Where it's like, I failed, and all of the meaning that they put on that. Whereas you can redefine what failure means to you. So much of what I do in my coaching really is based around the words that I hear people say, whether they're writing me a DM, whether they're commenting in our program's Facebook group, whether I'm live doing a coaching call with someone. I am very in tune with the words that they use because the words that people use give me a hint as a third party, not inside their head, as to some underlying beliefs that go on. So when someone asks or someone is thinking about failure, I go, I wonder what in their past made them so deathly afraid of failure that they want to avoid it at all costs. And they let the fear of failure dictate almost every decision that they make, trying to avoid it. So instead of pursuing success and whatever that definition has in your life, and for seeking out the positive things that you want to feel and experience, we are coming from a place of scarcity and fear, trying to avoid a painful situation like being a failure. Now, whether you were labeled as a failure or labeled as something negative when you were growing up, usually that's where these beliefs start to form, is in childhood. And failure is to be avoided at all costs, whether that was from your parents or the culture you grew up in or society or whatever you labeled failure as. We want to just start to challenge how we assign the meaning to failure. So if you assign failure is bad, is negative, is means something about you, yeah, you're going to want to try and avoid it at all costs. But how's that working for you? Is that a good feeling? Is that what you want to experience? Like, well, I didn't fail today, so I guess I can live again tomorrow. Or is it like, oh my God, I'm so afraid to fail. Like, what if you just spiral, right? You snowball. Like, this client canceled. Oh my God, that means that like I'm not getting that money in today, and like bills are already tight. And what if I failed this? What if I'm not really cut out to do this? What if being a business owner is just not for me? Yeah, maybe mom was right, or maybe my uncle was right, or maybe my husband was right. That I'm just, who do I think I am to do this, right? And we just spiral. Right. And we just have all of these beliefs just come pouring out. This is all happening in our head, by the way. Very few of us actually communicate that's what's actually going on. But this is the underlying belief system you have running in your head that then determines what actions you take. And so you will tend to take actions that align with your belief system. We've talked about this before in previous episodes, but go on this mindset journey with me, that what goes on in your head is then reflected in your external environment. It's not the other way around. Your external environment can trigger thoughts and beliefs, but you are always in charge of the beliefs. You just aren't aware of it. Most of us have so much what we call subconscious programming, right? Basically, think of a computer program and like how there's a bunch of code in there, and that like results in, a podcast being recorded or an Instagram post going out there. It's all coding, right? That's going on in your head as well, just on a subconscious level that you're not really present or aware to. But even the mere fact that you create an awareness around, when I talk about failure, when I think about failure, or the word failure comes up, I start to have a physical, emotional experience to it that's probably not good. I don't like that feeling. So let me work on changing the feeling rather than whatever it is externally that I'm afraid of. I know this may be over some of y'all's head, but go on this journey with me. Your external environment will match the beliefs that you have in your head. Meaning that if you take failure off the table, that failure is not an option, that nothing that you experience in your environment will determine that you assign it the meaning of failure, then all of a sudden we're no longer afraid of failure because in our mind it doesn't exist. right? You can't be afraid of what doesn't exist. I mean, we can be afraid of the boogeyman, right? Actually, most of y'all are afraid of the future, right? We have anxiety. You're trying to predict a future that hasn't happened yet, but you're pretty sure based on the patterns you're experiencing that we're headed down that path, but it hasn't actually happened yet. We can take back and feel empowered and take back control over our thoughts to reassign a different meaning to the word failure, or even take it out of our vocabulary completely. The way that I do this is I never look at anything or assign anything as a failure. It doesn't matter to me whether somebody deems whatever I'm doing as a failure or not. I could have said there's a lot of failures, right? I could have said, every day I experience failures. Basically, my expectation of the result that I want, whether personally or professionally, doesn't match up with what actually happened. I could assign that as a failure. I absolutely could have. If that meaning served me to motivate me, to get me to do something different that would get me to the result I want. If that was how I believe failure would help me, sure, I could use failure as my vocabulary, but it doesn't, not for me. I look at the things that maybe other people would assign the label as failure as, wow, I'm learning. If you've been a part of my coaching programs, you have probably heard me say, you're either going to get the result that you want or the lesson you need. Therefore, with those two outcomes, no matter the situation you go through, failure is not one of those options. Therefore, failure is not an option in my world. I'm either going to learn the lesson that I need to learn in order to get the result that I want, or I will get the result I want. Either way, I win. Either way, I am that much closer to success or that much closer to that end result I want. It doesn't mean that I failed because I didn't get the result that I wanted. There's clearly some learning lessons or some information that I didn't have prior to this situation going down that on the other side of it, on the failure side, if you will, I now have more information to make a different decision. And maybe I keep trying different decisions and it doesn't get me to the result I want, but I keep getting closer. Another thing that I often say is progress over perfection. These are all things that my business coach drilled into my head for years that they just become a part of my narrative in my head. So yes, sure, shame is something that occasionally creeps in. Intrusive thoughts occasionally creep in. But where I've learned the power of my mind is that I get to choose the thoughts that hang out in my head and that dictate what actions I take. So if there's a thought that comes in like, you're such a failure, it doesn't hang out in my head very long. I go, you know what? I don't like that belief. I'm going to choose a different one. So goodbye, failure. I am choosing to see that my mistakes are working for my better good and that I'm actually one more step closer to the results that I want to experience. Right? How much better of a self-talk conversation is that to motivate you, to comfort you in a time when you're feeling like a failure or that you're disappointed you didn't get the results you want, or you're experiencing pain because you didn't get the experience or the results that you wanted. All of that is working to your benefit. The avoidance of pain in life, I don't think is the goal, right? Yet so many of us operate and we actually experience a lot of pain on our journey to not experience pain, right? If your end result is to have a lot more money so that you don't have to worry about bills, that you spend all of your time worrying about bills, you're kind of pushing that reality of that experience away from you because you are so stuck to, if I just worry more, right? If I just, hold on tighter, if I just white knuckle life a little bit more, then finally I'll get relief. But we're on a journey. Business is not about the destination, it's about the journey and who you're becoming along the journey. And that was a huge shift for me over the last couple of years that I've taken, is really falling in love with the process of who I'm becoming that entrepreneurship allows me to go through. This is part of the reason why I don't think I could ever work for anyone else, because it robs me of my own personal development. Entrepreneurship is development on crack. Personal development on crack, because your business is a direct reflection of your own limiting beliefs and your mindset. And it is a really empowering and also terrifying experience to go through, because if your business starts to tank in a way that you don't want it to go and you're not getting the results you want, guess who's responsible for that? You are. Sure, we can blame the economy, we can blame clients, but who was the one who built a business in that economy? Who was the one that is choosing to run a business in that economy? Who is the one that is attracting those clients into the business that then complain that they don't get the results they want? You are ultimately the one that is contributing to the results you are or are not experiencing. So therefore, you are also the one that is empowered to cause change. And anytime that we play the victim role, if something external in my environment is affecting me internally, we lose our power and we become the victim. And that's not a healthy place to be. It's not a place that makes you want to change, or that you feel like if I try something differently, or if I think about something differently, or I don't label it as failure, then I can't control the outcome. And I'm just destined to stay in this spot, right? I'm destined to stay stuck, and I'm destined to stay in overanalyzing everything and never taking action. So many times when we overanalyze, we don't have the data to make an informed decision. We are overanalyzing every possibility, every potentiality, and we're trying to figure out which one's the right one. But even labeling something as right or wrong is what is keeping us stuck. Because oftentimes just taking an action in any direction will give you more information to make a better choice next time. So all of this, how do I avoid failure? That's really up to you to no longer assign something as failure. You don't want to fail at business, don't stop doing business. Right? If you're equating failure as to your business shutting down, please know that if you get to the point where you are making the choice to shut your business down, that is your choice. It is not something that happens to you. It is a choice you make. Nobody shuts your business down for you. I mean, we can talk about like government coming in and shutting your business down, but you can still continue to run your business and find different avenues and ways to serve your audience and get them to pay you for services or products that you offer. There's always a way around it. Right? There's always a lesson to be learned and a pivot to be made if you keep running against the same wall. But chances are the wall you're running into isn't external to you. It's up in this little hat rack of yours called the brain. So my encouragement to you is just test out a whole day where failure is not something that drives you, right? Where the avoidance of failure is not something that causes you to take any action. That really the journey of I'm going to get the result that I want or the lesson I need is the mindset that you approach that day with. Everything. Be mindful of the thoughts that are coming into your head. Be mindful of what that narrative is saying about you as a person, and change that narrative and just say everything is working in my favor. Then I'm going to get the result that I want or the lesson that I need. But either way, I win. Therefore, there is no failing. Hey guys, I love these conversations that we have in the DMs. These are where a lot of our content ideas come from. So if you're not already following me on Instagram, please do so at the Lashpreneur, and then send me a DM with what's going on in your business. I'd love to do a deep dive with you, and hopefully it'll, stimulate more conversation here on the podcast. Otherwise, have a good one, and we'll talk soon.